Bystander video, pretty common these days, and this next video was taken by a young man by the name of Riley Spears. It happened on Granville Street after some of his friends, and he walked out of a club. It's a big party scene for young people, and joining us tonight to talk about it, Riley Spears, how are you?
Pretty good.
Good. We've got Mark Bussey and Jesse Miller from Mediated Reality joining us on the phone. Hi, Jesse.
Hi, Joe.
Now, I want to start with you, Riley, and explain just how this all played out. This was Granville Street Sunday night?
Yeah.
So,
and I pretty much just walked outside, and this guy just came up, and there was people asking for money, and he just came up and threw money on the ground, and he was like, "I'll give you this money if you let me kick you in the groin."
Okay, so there was a man out on the street, and is this somebody you know, or you just kind of stumbled upon this?
No, it was when the club got let out. Everyone was outside, and he just came out of nowhere.
And so the people who hang out down there know that they can come up to young guys like you coming out of the club and say, "Hey, you got some spare change?" That kind of thing?
Yes.
And so then this man reacted and said, "Yeah, I've got money for you."
Yeah.
And he offered $50?
Yeah.
Did you see the $50?
Yeah, he took it out and counted it and then threw it on the ground in front of the person.
All right, we want to show you the video that Riley took. Here it is.
You want the money or what? I do. You want the money or what? You want the money or what? You want the
So you don't know this man in the blue shirt with the white face? No. And at least two men stepped up to take the money and offered to be kicked in the groin.
Yeah.
And as this video plays out, he does it to another man. And then that man, this man in the red toque, runs off with the money.
Yeah.
And this fellow chases after him.
Yeah.
What were you thinking when you watched this?
It was just horrible. I don't know. It was just like surreal.
Yeah.
Like someone's paying money to like beat someone else up and they're accepting it.
Right. And Jesse, talk to us if you will, because this is not an uncommon phenomenon for bystanders to all stand around and watch this and then for kids to want to put this out on the web, is it?
Oh, not at all. I mean, we've had the benefit of learning about this since the dawn of mobile technology, in the sense that we can capture anything, and social media gives us an avenue to share it. And whether it be kids in a high school or as a bar's letting out, or even in the workplace, we've seen this where an employee argument turns into something that goes viral.
Is there any benefit to this video?
I mean, in the sense of a police investigation, obviously there's more than enough evidence to highlight a person, and the maybe even if the person, let's say one of the people who were assaulted there ends up in the hospital, you got a path you can travel in the sense of identifying victims and assailants. But as a whole, I mean, I think it adds just to our view of culture sometimes. I mean, does it give Vancouver a bad light? Is this our behavior? Is this what we do when bars are exiting at 3 o'clock in the morning? I don't think, in the sense of the viral content, it's something that our city needs.
No, certainly not. And you know what, Mark Bussey, this just sort of adds to the list of complaints about what's going on Granville Street. You were just involved in the Engaged City Task Force trying to make Vancouver friendlier and more fun, and that doesn't help.
No, it's horrible. Do you know what the golden rule is?
No.
Did your parents ever teach you about the golden rule?
Is that the do unto others?
Every religion in the world has a version of this. Treat other people the way you wish to be treated. So my concern really, besides the fact that the thing that really gets me riled up, I think that the city and the policymakers need to really rethink what the Granville Mall represents in terms of the long-term implications of tourism and culture and this party ghetto scenario. The concern I have about what it says about Vancouverites, and it is more so younger people that are doing this, they're not participating anymore with the world. They're watching the world. But despite that, and despite that this happens when you have just one guy drunk,
he's clearly intoxicated.
He's inebriated, that's fine.
Yeah, and he's being...
I would like to know what this young man, who looks like a respectable young fellow, why on earth you thought it was okay to observe this and not intercede, as well as all those other people, and why, when he went across the street and beat the snot out of him, didn't you go find a police, which I'm telling you, there's like 30 all around Granville Mall, and find a cop and say, that guy just assaulted him and I have evidence,
But maybe
go get
somebody
him.
did. Like, and this is what police...
But we just talked about it. He didn't. I would just like to know what you were thinking. Could you share why?
I heard someone else say they were calling the police, so I don't know.
So you just figured you were catching a cool
so.
video that you could post on YouTube, which you did.
Yeah, and you know what?
That just like.
Except, let me just, you know what? You and I are older.
We are.
So we have that understanding. But let me just say that videos like this, videos like Riley took, often help police
absolutely
in investigations. If nobody took any video and just stood there, we'd have no proof that it happened.
But I saw people in the video taking video and standing there.
Yeah, there were lots of them standing around. The other thing that
laughing. They were laughing.
That's the tragedy.
Reminded me of the Stanley Cup riots that night.
Hey,
yeah.
Jill, Mark, can I interject for a quick second?
Of course.
You know, I think, and I like Mark's opinion here with this, and we've heard events like this with, I mean, we had the sexual assault that occurred at Pitt Meadows a couple of years ago, and the video went on Facebook before it went to the hands of the police. Our children have the ability to broadcast to the world events, but we have to be able to engage with them and talk to them about the appropriate use of communications. And if you have a video in your hand, why not show it to people who can make change before we just put it on the internet and hope that we get more subscribers and followers and likes? And for the young man who's in studio, I mean, the video's off YouTube for some reason, and it's now, you know, it's on the internet. Obviously, other people have got copies, but I think if we're prepared to put something on the internet, we have to be prepared for it to stay there, especially when people start paying attention to what we shared.
Right. Well,
Absolutely.
Riley, you took it off today because...
I was getting like hate mail from people for posting it. So
Did that surprise you?
yeah.
Yeah. You see, Jesse, you know, talking to Riley, and I have no idea how old you are, but it doesn't surprise me that this was his reaction, right? Because...
No, and he's not alone in that. I mean, we have thousands of kids sharing content every day online, and until it becomes a negative, do they start to think about the consequences, and whether that's in the principal's office or a police officer knocking on the door. I mean, how many kids in the riot that we have who are surprised that the police knew what they look like? I mean, you put your photo on Facebook and you're assaulting somebody, you're damaging property. The two and two's got to go together eventually, but be able to stand by the content you're sharing.
Okay, so I might sound strange to you and Mark, but and probably because I'm a journalist and it's been our job to capture video of events, you know, for my entire career. And I think of the situations like Robert Jacansky being tasered to death at the airport and police telling us one story and bystander video proving that story wrong. So is there anywhere where you see that what Riley did was okay and not a bad thing to put this out in the public realm, Jesse?
Well, I think you also have the benefit of going to journalism school. You've had the ability to learn about proper dissemination of information, and I think that because a lot of people have the ability with these devices to share, even though the content can help a police investigation, there is due process. I mean, imagine you're a family member and you're seeing a video of your, you know, a loved one dying. You should get the benefit of getting a next of kin notification before you see the viral video.
Sure, and death is separate.
Yeah.
You know. When I heard about this video, I thought it would be more horrific than it is. Don't get me wrong, it's not good. But I didn't see any of the men kicked sort of, you know, plunge over and vomit or, you know, be shrieking in pain. So it wasn't as horrible as I thought it would be.
But to go back to the engaged city stuff for a minute, you know, the thing that really bothers me, you know, those of us that served unpaid, without political agenda, and put 14 months into thinking about and discussing how we could change the conversation and begin a new path towards a kinder, gentler, you know, friendlier, safer Vancouver. You know, a city is defined by the way it treats its lowliest citizens.
Right.
And when you walk up to, when it's funny to a group of young people to pay $50 to a homeless person who's probably mentally ill to kick them in the groin.
Right, but and I agree with you.
It's not his fault.
But you guys
But it's
saw it
indicative of
differently.
the situation.
You
right?
weren't doing the behavior,
No.
right?
No.
You felt you were just recording it.
Yeah.
Yeah. The police were contacted and said that they've heard about this case and the video. Have they contacted you?
No.
No. So you just pulled it down of your own doing.
Yeah.
It wasn't like the authorities asked you to take it down.
Have you reached out to the police though?
No.
Might you?
Might you? Please?
Possibly, yeah. Well, I don't know. I've called the police before for my own reasons, and they don't do anything to me. So, like, they don't help me. They don't do anything. They're just like, okay, we'll investigate it. That's it. Don't hang up.
Which is not uncommon, right? Yeah.
That's happened multiple times for me. So
that's not the first place you go when you're looking for help or help for others. All right.
Joe, can I interject really quickly there?
Sure.
Yeah, just to add on, I mean, in my work, I work with literally hundreds of fantastic officers, and from my experience, they're very willing to help. It just does come down to the validity of the story and the route they can take. I've personally never heard of an officer saying, you know what, that's not something we can help with, unless, of course, there's other avenues. And when it comes to some of the events we see, there are other avenues. But I would very much say that police, I think, do want to help.
All right. Thank you. Gentlemen, we are out of time. Riley, I want to say we appreciate you coming in. Thank you. And Mark Bussey, always nice to see you. And Jesse, thanks for your time as well.
Thanks,
coming up next on Unfiltered, so much for public consultation. Cuts are coming to BC Ferries. Jim Abram is ticked off. We're going to talk to him next.